So in every new video, I try to include some new techniques or some new ideas that you can bring into your own baking. So for this week's video tutorial, I thought I would show you how to make a really fun tropical themed cake. But we're going to be incorporating this with some buttercream contrasting stripes. I also just want to thank everybody that has already subscribed to the Cakes by Ninja YouTube channel and comes back to watch all the new videos. If you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell next to the subscribe button, and this will just alert you every time I upload a new video. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so in order to make my tropical cake, the first thing that I'm going to do is actually prepare the sponge cake. Now I baked 3 layers of 6-inch vanilla sponge cake, and each one just measures around 1.5 inches in height. Now to create my buttercream stripes on the side, I will be using this contour comb. Now this contour comb has 1/2 inch gap. This one is by the Evil Cake Genius. So all I've done is when trimming off my cakes is just measure them up against the comb itself, so you haven't got a small one at the top. I've just created some pink buttercream and also a dark blue buttercream. Now in order to get the dark blue, I've just mixed some dark navy food gel with a small amount of lac, some purple and a little bit of pink, and I left this overnight just to darken slightly. So using the pink buttercream, I'm going to start to fill and stack my cake. I can then put a crumb coat on the outside, and for this I'm going to use the blue just because I want this to be the main colour of the cake. So all the crumb coat is just a really thin layer of buttercream that just locks in any loose crumbs. Hold the scraper at a 90-degree angle to the cake, making sure that that bottom just stays on my board, and just scrape a lot of that buttercream off. I can then pop this in the fridge just for that buttercream to set. So once my cake has come out of the fridge, add another layer of my blue buttercream. Now I'm going to make sure that my buttercream is just slightly thicker than the width of the grooves that are cut out on my scraping comb. Now you want to make sure that your scraper is kept on the board so that as you go round, the parts that are cut out are in exactly the same place. Now any areas that you're not happy with or that aren't deep enough, you can just go in, add a small amount more of buttercream and just go back over with your scraper. Now as you can see, we're left with these nice 1/2 inch stripes going all the way up the cake. So I'm going to pop this into the fridge for around 15 minutes just for that buttercream to set firm so that we can add our pink stripes. Okay, so whilst that's in the fridge, I've just got a 10-inch drum board here, and I've coloured some of my fondant in the same colour as my buttercream. Roll this out and pop a small amount of water onto my board just to make that stick. I can then cut off any excess fondant and just attach a nice navy blue bow around the edge. Okay, so I've taken my cake out of the fridge and that buttercream has just firmed up nicely. I've then got my contour scraper and I've just placed that in a tray of warm water. You can only do this if you have a metal one, and it's just to warm up the metal slightly, so as we scrape it round, it will just melt that top layer of the blue one and not pull against it. I've then put my pink buttercream into a piping bag, and I also have some more of that blue one just to finish off that top edge, and just filling up these empty grooves with my pink buttercream. I'm then going to use some of that blue and just go in around that top edge. You then want to take your metal scraper out of your warm water and just wipe off any excess water drops. Place with the straight edge of my scraper just against the cake and just start taking that pink buttercream off. As we work our way around, you can just see we're getting those nice stripes. Now I'm going to go in with a small amount of that pink buttercream again and just fill up any gap. And before I go in again, I'm just going to clean off the edge of my scraper because I don't want to get any of that blue on my pink. Once you're completely happy with your stripes, I'm then just going to go in with my offset spatula and just neaten up that top edge. So there we have our striped cake. So I am going to pop this in the fridge for another 10 minutes just for that buttercream just to set nice and firm so that we can transfer it over onto our board and start adding all our tropical decorations. So this includes the leaves and the flowers and lastly the flamingo. First thing I'm going to start with are my tropical leaves. Now I've just got some gum paste or some floral paste which I've just coloured in this green shade, and I've also got some cutters. These are just 3 of the 4 cutters that come with the FMM tropical leaves set, and I will put a link in the description below to all the tools that I've used today. So they're just a few different palm leaves. Now if you don't have cutters, it's not a problem. You just sketch out a leaf shape on a piece of card and just cut those out with a craft knife. So the first leaf shape I'm going to use is this large palm leaf. So lay my gum paste on top, cut that out. Taking the other end of my Dresden tool, I'm just going to lightly push that out, bring in just my foam mat and my Dresden tool and add some detail. So I'm going to start from the top to the bottom of the leaf and just put a line all the way down. You then want to do some diagonal lines. Now I want this to dry with some shape to it, so I'm just going to bring in a piece of tin foil and just fold the edges round and create a crease in the middle. You then want to just fold the leaf slightly in half, and where you've got these areas that come out, I'm just going to bend those inwards and then I can just lay that inside. Now while that's drying, I'm just going to work on some of my other leaves. So I'm going to cut out my other 2 shapes. Okay, so for the next leaf, I've just got the longer palm leaf that comes in the set. I'm using my Dresden tool just to create a center line from top to bottom. So just starting at the middle, coming right to the edge on both sides and leave that one to dry. Now the last leaf that I've got is just this large kind of spade shaped leaf. So I've cut this one out and I'm going to do the same. So I'm just going to put a center mark down that middle and just create just a few lines coming off, and again just slightly curve that round. You can always pinch the bottom. I can then go ahead and just make a few more of my leaves, and when they're ready we can add some colour to them. Now with the leaves that are going to go in the top of the cake, what you can always do is just make the bottom of the gum paste slightly thicker when you cut it out. Just so you can push a cocktail stick in there slightly, just so that will give us something to add into the cake. Once your leaves have set solid, take 3 different edible tints. So I've got a darker foliage green, a lighter apple green and just a lemon yellow. Brush some of that darker green just onto my edges. Add the slightly lighter apple green just coming away from that to blend the greens together, and then just some of that yellow just up the center, and I'm going to do this to all of my leaves. Okay, so here we have all the different leaves that I'm going to add to the cake. Now I also have made some flowers to go on the cake. I've just got a hibiscus flower here. Now the flowers are a little bit more detailed, so I am going to put a link in the description below and also at the end of this video just to show you step by step how I made the hibiscus flower and also these small little plumeria flowers. So both these flowers really give a tropical feel to your cake. So if you do want to know how to make the flowers that I add onto the cake, then don't forget to check those videos out too. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is just make my flamingo to go on the front of my cake. First of all, I've got a ball of the gum paste, which is around 1 inch in diameter, and another ball which is half the size. Now I'm going to start by tapering down the larger ball between the palms of my hand and flatten that out. Pull 2 little dents from the bottom. This is where his legs are going to come out of. I'm then just going to go in with my craft knife, and I just want it to look like feathers coming from the bottom. So do a few of these just up the back with my Dresden tool, just adding some texture to look like feathers. take the smaller ball of gum paste and make exactly the same shape, but this one's just going to be slightly flatter and longer. So this is going to go over the top, just like its wing, and do exactly the same on this one, just creating the effect of some feathers. Again, I'm going to go in with my Dresden tool and add in some feather mark. Once you're happy with that, I'm just going to pop some edible glue just on the top, glue that into place. I'm then going to work on his neck. I've got another ball of my pink gum paste, so it's a long sausage. Now I want to keep one end of it slightly wider, so you just want to cut the strand of gum paste just at an angle. You can then attach the neck. Now for the head, we want the beak to come out, so I'm just going to cut into the front and just cut out a triangle. So I've just got a small ball of white. Taper that down so we get a point on the end, and you want it to be around 1 centimeter long, but the same width as the top of the head. Cut a triangle to slot into the end. Before I glue it in place, a small lump at the top, and it just points downwards. Pop a small line just up his beak. Okay, so for the flamingo's legs, I'm just going to use some black gum paste. Start rolling this out so it's a really thin length, but I'm going to leave the ends slightly wider. Trim them off around the same length as the body. Flatten down that end and just chop across the end. Push 2 dents into the end of that, and you just want to shape them. Now, one of my legs is going to come straight down. Now, for the other one, I'm just going to bend that leg so he looks like he's standing on one foot. I'm then going to glue these in place. To finish off my flamingo, I've just got some edible tints. So I've got some dusky pink and some blush pink, some black and a small amount of grey. So first of all, I'm going to go in with just some different shades of pink on those feathers. I then want to add the front of his beak. So I'm just going to take some of my black dust, just darkening off that front and just bringing some of that grey just up, just to bridge the gap between the white and the black. Take the smallest ball of that black paste, just drop it in where his eye is going to go. So there we have our flamingo all ready for the side of our cake. So here we have the finished striped cake. So I'm just going to transfer this over onto the board. I'm going to add my flamingo to the front. Now I've just added 2 small cocktail sticks just onto the back so that I can push him in the cake. I can then start adding all of my leaves and my flowers. First of all, you just place some of these leaves and just push those into the buttercream. I can then just fill some of these gaps up with some of my small flowers. Just cut off the wire from the back of my hibiscus, just so it's not going to push into the cake, just so we can rest it on the top. So I've just got the leaves that I've added the sticks onto. So I'm going to place those on first, and then I can lean some of the other ones just up against those. So in total, I just used 3 of the longer looking leaves, 3 of the ones that look like a heart, and then 2 of the palm leaves. So here we have the finished tropical themed cake with our contrasting navy blue and pink stripes. I really hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial and will enjoy using some of these techniques in your own baking. If you have enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give it a like, just so I know. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, or you'd like to check out the flower videos that I mentioned in this video, then don't forget to head over to the Cakes by Ninja YouTube channel. I'll also put a link in the description below to all the tools that I used in today's video and all my social media, so you can follow me there. So until next time, bye!